shot a few business pics for business today. This is the third gig I've done with the Fujifilm GFX. And I brought my X-T2 with me and a couple lenses. One of them was the Medicon 35, and the other one was the Trioplan 100mm 2.8, the Bubble Bokeh Monster. I posted a bunch of pictures. I'll put the link below so you could see. I know everybody thinks that I sit behind this crazy desk making videos all the time. Oh, and I can assure you I don't. I don't know if I have a tan on my face, but I've been outside now today for a little over 5.5 hours, and that doesn't count what I was doing before. Yeah, these aren't exciting. I was testing out the Medicon and especially the Bokeh Monster lens. I love the Trioplan. Now, the title of this video is... Now, here we go. There's some shots from the Trioplan. There's some radical shots. You know, they're unconventional. It's not a sharp lens. It's a really expensive lens. There's a bumblebee landing on some lavender, I think it is. Here we go. There's some bubble bokeh right there. The question is, how much people call me a Fuji fanboy. I guess I have to respond to that. Am I a Fuji fanboy? And I guess I am. I got the 2 X-T2s, GFX, couple X-T1s, X100F, every Fujifilm X lens made, every GFX lens made. But it's not Fujifilm. I mean, I've got Nikon tattooed to my hand as well as Fujifilm. I've got tons more Nikon stuff. Still love with Nikon, even though there's kind of screwing the pooch lately. I'm a fan of quality and ecosystem. Fuji's been making lenses for years. Currently, and I don't care if you think this is my own opinion or not, but I can tell you I've been around the camera world a little bit longer than you have, both intimately and otherwise. And right now, Fujifilm is nailing it. They're crucifying it. Fujifilm is kicking ass. Now, once in a while, you'll see somebody on some forums like, "Oh my God, I bought this Fujifilm camera and it took a crap on me." Well, if you're going to make countless tens of thousands of cameras, there's going to be one or two lemons. We could take a look at the Nikon D750, of which there have been countless tens of thousands recalled due to ineptitude. Fujifilm, I've had a talk with a bigwig at Fujifilm, and his words were, you know, Fujifilm is not perfect, but, you know, and then he went on to say something, and, you know, I never said Fujifilm is perfect. You know, they're not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect camera. And if you think there is, and you're delusional, of course. Anybody that thinks that's delusional. If you make enough cameras, I mean, even Lamborghini spits out a lemon here or there. But, you know, one or two people chirping about, you know, some sort of... There's a lot of... As you've seen me on these countless videos, I take these cameras apart, and there's a lot. I mean, there's well over 100 screws. There are flexo boards out the wazoo. Oh, my God. You know, it's worse than a computer. I mean, I've taken plenty of computers apart, and, man, there isn't even 1/3 as many screws, nor half as much... half as many chips and stuff going on in a typical laptop, a MacBook, or a Mac Mini. I'm taking many Mac Minis apart. You don't really fix laptops anymore. It's not like you don't fix it like a car. You just replace parts, but we call it fixing stuff. They're really complicated. So I guess I am a Fuji fanboy, but that's only because I'm the fan of the best quality. If that makes me a fanboy, I don't give a damn. Because none of these companies give me anything. They don't. I did get a couple free hats from Fujifilm. And I got a free shirt from them last year. But Fujifilm currently is the best company. Bar none, period. What people don't realize when they buy a camera, people that just don't know what the hell's going on, and most people don't know what the hell's going on. They look at a camera and they only look at a camera, and I mentioned this before many times. The camera's not a camera. Camera's an ecosystem. It's kind of like if you buy a DeLorean. Sony is kind of like a DeLorean. Now, I know DeLorean has been revived, alright? So, don't take the analogy too damn far. But before the DeLorean company was revived, if you bought a DeLorean car back in the 90s, you know, you were crap out of luck. If it broke, you got no customer service. There's nothing. There's nobody making aftermarket parts for it. You got no support. You got nothing. You know, you're just stuck with a turd unless you're like some guy that's either got a lot of money or you're a know-it-all car expert mechanic that can like weld crap back together. You know, it's like, my DeLorean broke. It's like, so the company went out of business because the owner was like snorting coke or whatever the hell happened to that idiot. So, camera's an ecosystem. So, this is currently the best all-around camera, and I use those words specifically, all-around. It's not the best camera in the world, obviously, for sports, action, wildlife, because it doesn't have the big-ass glass of Nikon and Canon. Fuji, you know, the higher-ups at Fuji are like, yeah, that's true. That's not my opinion, that's a fact. Even the top people at Fujifilm would say that. Sports, action, wildlife, it doesn't have the huge-ass glass. It doesn't have the super incredible high ISO performance of like a Nikon D500 or D5. I mean, that's irrefutable too. So what? However, Fujifilm does have the GFX now, so that'd be the awesome, uber awesome for landscape, and certainly for portraiture. And I have that camera. But I mean, the X-T2 is not a full-frame camera, nor is it the GFX. So. It is certainly not the best system for sports, action, wildlife, or portraiture or landscape, but it's the best compromise of all of those. It's made like hell in a good way. Made like hell in a good way. In Japan, and I just use the GFX as one example. I mean, excuse me, the X-T2 is one example. So I guess I am a Fuji fanboy. I've been out shooting a lot today. I've been out for many hours, and having a lot of fun with the GFX. Use the Midicon. Midicon's great. I'll post some images below. I posted a bunch of Midicon test shot examples. I just went walking out in the park, and I was doing what I typically call douchebag photography, which is like taking pictures of flowers and stuff. Love the Midicon. Too, when people think of Fuji, they keep forgetting that you can stick a ton of other lenses on this, adapted lenses. Doesn't have to be a Fuji lens, you know? I mean, I've already got every Fuji lens, but, you know, there's some freaky deaky lenses out there that are just awesome. That will fit on the Fuji, work fine. I don't know why people don't. They're always asking about Fuji lenses, and I'm like, well, why don't you ask about non-Fuji lenses you can stick on your Fuji? But as someone who takes apart cameras, and I don't just look at them from the outside, when you take a look at the ecosystem, how this camera is actually made, quality of support, Fujifilm is crucifying it. Everybody else is crucified. I read Fujifilm had a bunch of firmware updates today. Someone made a hilarious comment, because Fujifilm's always doing firmware updates to expand and improve the camera. Someone said, if this were a Sony, instead of a firmware update, they would just release a new model. And, you know, as funny as that is, it's really quite accurate. You know, it's like, oh no, we got a problem. Can we fix that via firmware? Nah, we're going to have to release a new model. But Sony is really adept at doing that. You know, we'll fix that in the next one. This reminds me of a Toy Story thing where they were flicking through the channels, and they're like, oh, we just hit it. And it's like, too fast. And they just kept waiting. They're going through all the channels again. Instead of like hitting the back button, it's like what Sony does. Instead of like fixing the problem with the firmware, hitting the back button and fixing something. It's like, nah, we'll fix that in the next model. Oh no, you're attacking Sony. Here's the real question. Am I attacking Sony, or is Sony attacking itself? Now, here's the question. If like some naked dude walked into the mall and he had one hand on his crotch and with his other hand he was like wolf whistling at women, you know, and if I made fun of the guy and I said something like, look at that pervert, I mean, he's naked, one hand on, you know, and people said, oh my god, you're so critical. It's like, who's at fault? Me or the naked idiot with his hand on his crotch? So, I'm calling stupid and moron on people that, you know, want to attack me. It's like, oh, you stop attacking Sony. You know, I will stop attacking Sony when Sony stops attacking itself, you know? I don't know who's more to blame. The guy that walks... Actually, I do know. Who's more to blame? The naked guy that walks into the mall with one hand on his crotch? Or the person that, you know, is picking on the guy for, you know, walking naked into the mall with his hand on his crotch? Well, you know, the guy that's doing the wrong crap is at fault. You know, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, that's a hard one to answer, but when it comes to screwing up like that, it's not hard to figure out which came first. It's like, well, the naked guy when he came into the mall with his hand on his crotch. That's the guy that's at fault. Not me for pointing out, you know, that guy's a pervert. I'm not at fault. So I call bogus and BS on people that, oh, you just hate Sony. No, actually, I hate crap and I hate BS. I'm not a fan of companies that don't fix their stuff. Oh, I take that back. They do fix it, but they only fix it by bringing out another model. You know, how many overheating cameras can you make until you realize, as a company, you know, I think customers are getting sick of our cameras overheating. You know, maybe we should stop doing that. Maybe the next model should not overheat. How many cameras do you have to come out with before you make the realization, this camera's overheating? I saw the Sony A9 review from Dave Dugdale, the most sensible YouTube reviewer, and he was reviewing his A9, and it was really, really, really funny. And towards the end of the video, he said his Sony A9 overheated, and then he turned off the overheat warning so it would overheat without turning itself off. But before he could get to that, it would overheat again, and then he couldn't do it. So he kept having to scroll through the menus. This are his words. Before he would get there to change it, it would overheat and shut off again. So he could never, and his exact words were, I missed a lot of pictures. There's only one company that I know of that would make so many damn cameras that overheat. It's like, maybe after the first or second camera you should, you know, we're not going to have this problem anymore. We're going to have our researchers look into this so it will not happen again. But, so you're right, I am a Fuji fanboy, but that is me saying I'm a fan of quality, service, and a reliable product. There's nothing perfect out there. You know? Nothing. Don't care if it's a, what's that really expensive car? A Bentley, a Lamborghini, a Rolls, you know, everyone, once in a while there's going to be one that's going to roll off the assembly line. Uh-oh, got a problem. But that's no shade on the company. When you have thousands of them with the same issue, it's like, oh, crap, you know. Jesus, what is going on with this damn company? That's a valid complaint. It's like, Jesus, you know, everybody's got this issue. It's kind of like Nikon and their Nikon D750. We had a recall on the shutter assembly, you know, taking a poop on itself. Oh, we're going to have another recall on the same thing, and another recall. And then you go, damn, Nikon. What the hell is wrong with you? Thank you for watching. Catch you later. Bye.